All right, how you guys doing? How has the final day of talks been for you guys? What have you guys learned about so far this afternoon? Yeah.
We've learned about that I know this is going to be a really interesting.
Sorry, I'm waiting for Josh because Josh raised his hand.
We learned about art and many others.
Nice. What else did you learn about?
I learned how to tell if this is going to be a really interesting topic
How did you learn how to tell that?
because of the title.
So you're looking at the title, you're thinking it's interesting. All right. What
Yeah.
else did you learn this morning? Oh, this afternoon.
Life skills,
Life's like what?
like ironing and like
Sweet.
washing the dishes and cleaning the shower.
That's exciting. Awesome. Cool. Yes. Last comment.
I learned about how to not spoil your children.
Ah, it's a good thing to learn. Awesome. All right. So our next TED Talker is going to be Jonas Evans. Let's give him a big round of applause. Jonas, can you tell us a little bit about how you came to this topic?
Well, I got inspired by this when I heard on NPR News a story about a school that I will later have in my talk.
Okay. So you're going to kind of give us more information about it. All right. One more round of applause for Jonas. Whenever you're ready, bud.
Let's say that you're walking down a street and you see a kid in a wheelchair approaching you. What do? Do you smile and say hello? Do you frown or look away? Do you ask for his autograph? Now, let's say that you're on that same street, but this time approaching you is Michael Jordan. Do you smile and say hello? Do you frown or look away? Do you ask for his autograph? Now, both of them would want the same response, right? Because they're both humans, right? At Presidio Middle School, 10% of the 1,200 kids who study there have disabilities. Only 10 of them are in separate classrooms. That means that if you were to go through every single class through one period, you would find 110 kids with disabilities. Now, in one classroom, there are non-disabled kids and people with disabilities in one room. The mixing is done carefully so that every kid gets the same amount of knowledge. Teachers there help and encourage these people with disabilities because they do not focus on disability, they focus on ability. Reporters ask people with disabilities if having a disability stopped them from having a full life. Half of them say it does. Now, most of the people who say that having a disability caused them not to have a full life, they say it not because of their physical limits. It's because of how people treat them since they have this disability. And if we keep on doing that, then the numbers will rise up. Do you know Abraham Lincoln? Or Ludwig van Beethoven? Or Vincent van Gogh?
Yeah.
Now, I want you to guess how many of these three have disabilities. Peyton. Yes. Abraham Lincoln had a learning disability. Vincent van Gogh had depression, and Ludwig van Beethoven was deaf. This is Stephen Hawking. This is also Stephen Hawking. The only difference between these two pictures is Hawking's physical limits and how he looks. In the last picture, Hawking is in his teen years. Here he is a little older and he has ALS, causing him to be completely paralyzed. But in these two pictures, Hawking has the same amount of knowledge. And people encouraged him to show the world his genius, and that caused him to be on, that helped him to be on TED, be in zero gravity, and become one of the most famous names around the world. Now, most of you probably know Albert Einstein, but he had a learning disability. His teacher told him not to do math problems the way he wanted, but the right way at their time. But his family encouraged him to do any problems any way you could, so that you could get the right answer and it would help you. That helped him to think of the math sentence that most of us know, E = mc², challenge the theory of light, and become one of the most groundbreaking physicists who ever lived. Helen Keller was deaf and blind. She couldn't see anything or couldn't hear anything. She was trapped in a world of silence and darkness. It was very hard for her, but with help from her mentor, she managed to become an author and write numerous magazine articles and even 11 books. She became friends with kings, queens, princes, presidents, and famous changers around the world. She also created campaigns for the disabled because she knew what it was like to have a disability. Now, all these people that I just mentioned were encouraged and helped by their friends or family. So maybe we should do what those teachers at Presidio Middle School did. Maybe we shouldn't focus on disabilities. We should probably focus on ability. Thank you.
All right, questions for Jonas? Questions for Jonas?
Joe.
How did you come up with this topic?
Again, like I said, I read that I heard that NPR knew like that story, and when I heard that, I guess it didn't come to me at that point, but I guess that kind of stuck to me for a couple days until I started to connect that to TED Talks, and I guess this kind of like how people treat people with disabilities kind of emerged from all this.
It's so interesting how learning one little thing can grow into something as sophisticated as this.
Costa.
How did Stephen Hawking become paralyzed?
I think it just, I don't know exactly how ALS works, but all I know is that it came to him as he grew older.
So it wasn't like he did something himself that happened, it just came upon him?
Well, there are, like, he did fall on it, like at a mall. He fell on stairs and hit his head hard. He had to be in the hospital for a couple weeks, but some people think that may have been a cause for ALS, but I think many people think that it just came through him as he grew older. Jack?
Is there anybody in your family or somebody you know that's disabled?
Not that I can think of right now, no.
Jonas, did you find anything about like the terms that people with disabilities like people to use towards them?
Oh, well, you did hear me say people with disabilities through my talk because people with disabilities, they don't like being called disabled people. They like to have people at the beginning of the like whole phrase because it makes them feel more like connected to everyone else instead of saying disabled people, which kind of puts disabilities kind of more into the phrase. Joey?
I want to recommend a TED Talk to you. Did you watch the Stephen Hawking one?
Yes, I've seen Stephen Hawking.
There's another one by Henry Evans. I think you should watch that.
Okay.
That one's also good.
I love that. I love that. Any other questions for Jonas? All right. Thanks. Oh, no, I actually have one question for you. How did you do that without cards? did it take?
It took a lot of practicing and help from my dad too.
Awesome. What went through your mind when you were up there? Like, how did you keep track of where you were?
The pictures helped me, and I think that because we have these TED Talks, we all have like, what is your passion? And like, if you really are passionate for a topic, then usually you could kind of like talk about it like not looking at a paper or anything like that. But if you do look at a paper, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're not passionate about a topic.
Totally. I guess I was just wondering if you were thinking about text structure or anything like that as you were going, or if you just were speaking from the heart.
I guess I was kind of speaking from the heart more than.
Awesome. Way to go. All right, one last round of applause. Thank you, guys. All right, guys, we've got about